Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
The star, Leslie Curtis, Director of Business Development at Regents Boca, Raton, and we're going to talk about flu season, now underway, and it won't go away anytime soon. Hello, Leslie.
Good morning. How are you?
Are you feeling better?
Yes, I am.
That was a fluke, huh? What happened?
I have no idea. I strained my hip. Strained.
Hip.
I don't know when I did it, how I did it. You know how these things kind of creep up on you?
Oh, yeah.
I think I probably overdid it working in the yard.
Okay.
Which goes to show you.
See, when you get younger, that's what happens. You start having these things happen.
I know.
We don't talk about getting older. We talk about getting younger.
Right.
Okay. I want to talk about the flu season. As a matter of fact, Dr. Mencia got here earlier, and he is such a big flu proponent. And he said, I haven't had my flu shot yet. And, of course, I'm due to go there. So he promised last week when he came.
Yeah.
He said he's going to bring the flu shot for me, but he forgot.
Good morning, Leslie.
Good morning.
Yes, the topic is excellent because we're trying to motivate people to make sure they get their flu shot.
Oh, it's so hard to convince people because if they've never caught the flu, you know, the typical response is, I don't get that. I don't need that. Uh-huh. I never caught the flu. Well, wait till you do.
But I know you guys at Regents Park, you guys are always on top of this, and we need more facilities like this, an organization that motivate their people they have direct influence on to get their flu shot.
It's not just whether or not you're going to catch the flu; it's who you're going to give it to once you do. And I've got grandchildren living in my house with me. I don't want to give them the flu.
Right, exactly.
I mean, you have to think beyond yourself as to how quickly this spreads once it really takes hold. And believe me, it's amazing once the season is really, really up and running, how many patients in the hospital have the flu.
And, for the baby boomers out there, I try to convince them that if they catch the flu and they are not immunized, the period of infection is going to be a lot longer than if they do get immunized. They might get a short course of the flu, but it might be maybe on a Saturday and it's off on a Sunday, and then you're back to work.
But I have never. I've had flu shots all the time. I have never once been sick from them ever. Have you, Leslie?
One time I did not get the flu shot because I was stupid, and I got the flu, and it lasted on and off for a month. I just could not shake it.
It can linger on for a month
or more.
You're right.
Go with it, So,
but for people who are worried, they'll say, "Oh, I don't want to get the flu." I mean, I tell them I've had a flu shot every single year, and I have never known. Even when I go to Dr. Mencia's to have the flu shot, I don't even know they've done it. I said, "When are you going to do it?" He said, "I already did it."
It's a tiny needle. It's not like it's nothing.
No,
and Leslie, one of the myth out there is that if I get the flu shot, I'm gonna get sick, and it does happen to some people when they get the first flu injection, just like with kids when they get immunized.
Right.
They are naive to the immunization, so the first time they get immunized, of course, you might get some flu-like symptoms that are short-lasting, and you can resolve that with a few Tylenols. But the follow-up injection that you get, they're going to be fine. You don't have, it doesn't mean that you're always going to get sick. And I always ask my patient when they refuse because they had gotten sick in the past, if it was with the first one or second injection that they did get sick. And I explained to them that this is a naive immune system that is being exposed to the flu vaccine for the first time. So the response is completely normal of feeling the flu-like symptoms.
Listen, I'd rather have the flu-like symptoms for a couple days and not get the full-blown flu.
I agree.
But Leslie, and you especially work in an environment with the older adults, so it is pretty serious when one of them gets the flu. And so do you give it there? Does the doctor give the flu shots to all your residents? How does that work?
our nurses give the flu shots, but every single admission is offered. Just like in the hospital, they're offered the flu shot. And actually, the medical community has gotten a little bit better at this. They have to send us whether or not the patient got the flu shot in the hospital. Most of the time they don't, because they're in the hospital for a reason. They're sick. So we offer it when they come in. If they're on antibiotics or they've got some other infection going on, they can't get it at that point. They have to wait. So a lot of times our people will get it before they go home when they're back to healthy. But if there are, being treated for any kind of infection on antibiotics, they have to wait.
And Leslie,
they come in, even with the cold, they tell you wait, get over the cold, and then get the flu shot.
Right.
So we actually, I think it's November 11th. We have a company coming in, and they will be offering flu shots to families and visitors. They need to bring in their insurance cards because nobody does too many things for free. But they will be offering that, and basically their insurance covers the flu shot. So even people that are just visiting can get their flu shot while they're visiting. It takes like a minute.
And that was going to be my point, Leslie. Now before the snowbirds get here, because the visitors start coming and visiting friends and family, before they get here, you want to get your flu shot so that your immune system is already boosted and ready to counter any confrontation with the flu.
Yeah, well, I wish we could have done this sooner, but the time period that they gave us was like in November, but it's still early enough to catch a lot of the people that are coming down. And the car movers are coming. I don't know if you've seen
That's how you can tell, honey, with all the car movers, right?
Yeah, when people would say to me, all the car movers are coming, they're coming down, it's like, what is a car mover?
I love that. It's funny. When I'm driving on I-95 and I see them, I get very nervous. Somehow in my brain I say, uh-oh, that chain's going to break and all those cars are going to come off, flowing right into my way.
I've thought of that.
I know.
I thought of that myself, thinking, I don't think I want to be behind this thing.
I know it, right. And sometimes, you're driving and you have a car mover on one side and a big truck on the other, and you're in the middle, and you say, I don't know about this. So I speed up to get away. Let me tell everyone, my guest is Leslie Curtis. She's Director of Business Development at Regents Park, Boca Raton. The phone number to call there, just go for a tour. It is probably the most beautiful, I would call it a retirement community. I like to call it that because they have lots of things going there. They have rehabilitation. They have short-term stay, long-term stay. Anyway, the phone number there is 561-483-9282. Again, that's 561-483-9282. And I must say that they are on Facebook all the time. They have a wonderful person who just makes sure they get on Facebook, and you've got a very busy Facebook,
Yes.
It's great to see everybody there. So I want to get back to the something in your article this month, and maybe Dr. Mencia knows about it, but it's probably more for just communities like yours. You have a specialized Novaris unit, which is an air processing device. What does that do?
It's really cool, and not too many people or facilities have it because it's a little pricey, but it's worth it. It basically cleans the air of different viruses, so it helps cut down on our incidence of even just cold, flu. It makes a big difference. It's in every patient room. It's in every office. They're all over the place. I've got one in my office, and it's amazing. And of course, I don't have the research in front of me, but it's amazing how it cuts down on the incidence of airborne, not diseases, but
does it make a sound? Is it just quiet?
It's very quiet. It's like very quiet. It's quieter than just white noise. It's just I don't even hear it unless I'm sitting right in front of it. And then there's bigger units for the big rooms, like the activity room or the dining rooms. We have them in all of those rooms. So
that's good.
This is another way to try and help prevent, even secondary.
The spread of that.
I mean,
no, Dr. Mencia, maybe you need to have that in your patients' rooms. I was just thinking.
That would be,
yeah, that's something you don't think about. But when you go to a doctor's office, we always worry about catching other people's disease.
Right, exactly. And after each patient, that's why we try to clean the room. And then at the end of the day, there's a major cleanup in each room.
Well, one thing I think, maybe Dr. Mencia being here, this is very lucky. Of course, this is Dr. Andy Mencia, and he's on from 7 to 7:30, and it's the wonderful world of wellness. But we're very, very excited that he's here early and that we can have him join with you, Leslie, because
I'm excited.
Yeah, he's not even going to charge you. He's a doctor. It's all free, Leslie. Okay, but Leslie, something that you wrote in your article, you always write such great articles, is the Tamiflu, and I thought maybe Dr. Mencia could address what Tamiflu is and why it's good, or is it bad, or what?
Well, no, Tamiflu is good, and it is used once the person do get an infection. The objective of Tamiflu, it doesn't cure the flu, it just shortens the course of the flu. So people can do Tamiflu, or they just can do supportive care. It's no mandatory. It's not like having a bacterial infection that you need to be on antibiotic to eradicate the infection. The Tamiflu, what it will do is just shorten the course of the flu.
Right. And, it is a good drug, obviously. It helps patients. Some patients do have a negative reaction to Tamiflu, and they refuse. They've had it once maybe in their life. They'll refuse to take it again. But it's protocol. I mean, if they have the flu, I mean, if they haven't been tested in the hospital for the flu and they come to us, we're going to test them because we need to know if they need to be isolated or whatever, which is always fun during season. They come down with it, they automatically are going to be put on Tamiflu, unless, of course, they refuse.
Right.
It really, I don't think people realize, and why would they, how big a deal the flu is in South Florida, because we have all our guests from up north bringing down, whatever viruses they have and coming in to visit their loved ones, and boom, all of a sudden, 3 people come down with the flu. You have no idea where it came from. You do every precaution that you can, but it does spread like wildfire. It really does.
You're right, Leslie. In a facility like Regents Park, that you are exposing other people to the infection. It makes sense, just to protect, not only for the person to have a shorter course, but a shorter course means better protection for the rest of the residents.
And for the staff.
And for the staff. Because people don't understand. They have the flu, they touch the elevator, they touch the doorknob, and then the person come behind and touch, and we transmit it, by sneezing and walking right after somebody sneezes, So you're right, Leslie.
And the grandkids come to visit.
Oh,
right. One of them has the flu. What's the first thing a grandkid does to the grandmother or grandfather? They give them a big hug and kiss.
That's right, with all their little stuff drizzling from their nose and everything.
Yes.
So let me tell you something, though. The one thing that you brought up, and I think it's really important, is the people who are there, and they come in, and many don't come in well to begin with, but then they get the flu, and then they have infections. And the problem with the infection is it can turn into be pneumonia. It can turn into be something very serious. I know Dr. Mencia has been very cautious with his patients. I know when my husband had I guess he had a cold, something like that. He doesn't get much like that. But Dr. Mencia had a nurse come every day to check him, because he didn't want the bronchitis to get more serious.
Right.
And that's really important. That's what you talked about the flu.
Yeah, and it's interesting when I'm reviewing a chart or a patient before admission. The first thing I look at is their medications, because you don't get a lot of information from the hospitals nowadays. Not as much as you actually need if you can't go into the hospital to assess the patient. First thing I'm going to look at is what medications are they on, and there's 2 antibiotics. So what do they got growing? What's going on with the patient? Because we take it very seriously. We isolate a lot of patients because we don't want it to spread. And a lot of times, it's, like I say, if they haven't run the tests in the hospital, because, they're in and they're out, boom. And all of a sudden they have a fever, well, obviously something's going on, so you run the test, you isolate them until you find out what's going on. You have to.
And, the older the person is, the higher the risk of dying because of having the flu.
Absolutely.
What?
Absolutely.
So the problem is it gets into their lungs. And it seems that older people, that's where many of them die from what is the word when they say someone has passed away and it's from something to do with their breathing, their lungs. There's a word for that. I forget.
Well, it could be respiratory distress or...
It's always something like that because I guess
but usually it's not
too hard for them to breathe.
In the elderly, because most young people can get the flu and it stay localized in the upper respiratory system. But when you go into the bloodstream, and once you get the flu, you have what we call the normal flora, which is, those bacteria and viruses that live with us. But once you get an infection, the normal flora get altered. And when it get altered, then one of those bacteria will take charge and spread. So is it the flu killing you? Is it one of those bacteria? So some people will develop what we call sepsis, which means some of those bacteria that were happily go lightly at in your nose is now in your brain and in your heart, and it's all over your body.
Right.
So the complication of the flu, is usually the flu itself or its complication can then kill you.
And the super bugs that are quote bugs that are out there, and the antibiotics that they're using, those alone will make them so sick. Now you got C. diff going on, you've got the flu, you've got whatever you originally had, and I can't even believe sometimes when I see these individuals that are in their 90s actually getting through this, because it really is it's amazing. I mean, we're very lucky that we do have respiratory there 24/7. So somebody it could be a long-term resident, all of a sudden we start to notice that they're sniffling and sneezing, or they just don't look good.
Leslie, what you guys do with the patients or residents in your facility that have allergy to eggs?
Allergies to eggs. Are people who have allergies to eggs?
Oh, yes.
I love eggs.
And they cannot get the flu shot.
They can't get the flu shot.
Right, they cannot get the flu shot. So if you for the listeners out there, if you are allergic to egg, what you should do is have the Tamiflu, as we were discussing before. I love eggs.
I love eggs.
Usually the eggs are allergic to me. So
how do you know if you're allergic to eggs?
Oh, people know at a young age. At a young age, they are. Well, this allergy usually is categorized as mild, moderate to severe. So a person with severe allergy, sometimes they even need to be intubated to save their life. Those are the people that need to walk around with an EpiPen to protect their life, moderate to severe allergy. Some people just develop a little bit of swelling in their tongue and their nose or the lips, so they know they have the allergy.
Oh, so now I see on the label sometimes it says this factory or this laboratory uses peanuts or eggs.
Exactly.
Exactly. Peanuts are a big thing now.
Right.
And there's a lot of foods which I would never even think there's
a lot of nuts out there.
there are.
Dr. Mencia brings this lightness.
Somebody will say, "Well, are there peanuts in that?" Well, I don't know. So then I have to, go dash to the kitchen and say, "Is there peanuts in this?" Usually, in our food, there isn't because it's made fresh every day. But I never realized how many food products have peanuts.
And when they say peanuts, does that mean almonds or just regular peanuts? Do you know, Dr. Mencia?
I think it's just regular peanuts, but there could be cross reactions. So.
Oh, okay.
But if you're allergic to peanuts, you can't. You can't. I don't know what people did in the old days.
They suffered.
They died.
They died.
They died.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
now we know better.
Do like the Boomer Expo, and we always bring all the chocolates.
I know you do. Well,
So many people say, "Are there peanuts in this?"
Really? So then,
I don't know. Let's look at the little wrapper. I'm trying to tell you about Regents Park, and you want to know if there's peanuts in the chocolate. I don't know.
I know. Well, by the way, we are having our big expo coming up, as a matter of fact, in January. And, of course, Regents Park is always there. But what I wanted to tell everybody, remember Saturday, October 24th, hopefully your hip's going to be better and you're going to get there.
Yeah.
It's Saturday, October 24th from 9 to 3, and Dr. Mencia will be one of our distinguished speakers, so that should be really great. But anyway, Leslie...
And Leslie can listen to Dr. Garcia because she's a rheumatologist and she might be able to help her with the hip.
Oh, that's right. The next 30 minutes, you will hear...
I need a rheumatologist.
We hope you don't. We hope you just kind of, sprained it and doing something without...
Yeah.
I never heard of spraining a hip, but I guess it happens, right? Well, see that, listen, they want you to go to your own rehab so that you understand what's going on there. Then you can pick on them, right?
Yeah, I guess. It's doing better. It was very painful.
I know it was. You told me about that, but it's okay. I think all of us, it's funny. We wake up in the morning, we take for granted that everything is okay. I wake up, I feel fine until something happens. You say, oh my gosh, I don't feel fine, right? But I started open the blinds because I look at the sun coming in. Wow, this is a great day. Right. I get to go to the bathroom without a problem. There are a lot of people who can't go to the bathroom without a problem, right?
One of the things that we're going to discuss for a single joint pain like Leslie is having, that it could be something like an inflammation called bursitis. And if you don't treat it on time, it can become a chronic problem. So
better listen
I hope
to the
you
show
listen to the show,
Listen
Leslie.
to the show, Leslie. Just get yourself a cup of coffee.
I'm glad I made myself coffee.
Don't go back to sleep.
Are you going to work later?
No.
Good. You just lie down in bed.
A little bit.
Yeah, good.
With Facebook and all that nonsense. But
nonsense.
But Dr. Mencia, there is on our Facebook site, which I think you would enjoy. There's a short little video about washing your hands. So if you have a moment during the course of your extremely busy days, take a look at it because I think you'll really enjoy it. It talks about the best defense is a good offense. Wash your hands.
And wash your hands well. That's another thing I learned when you're supposed to wash your hands, supposed to sing happy birthday twice.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's right. That's I heard about that because a lot of
I just
go in
sing the national anthem 3 times.
Well, that'll make sure they're really clean.
Oh my goodness!
Say, really slow.
Oh, Leslie, you did not know, right, that when you called in this morning, you were going to have such a lot of fun. We were talking about the flu.
I'm glad. I'm so glad that Dr. Mencia is there. This is really cool.
It was cool, and we appreciate so much that you took the time because I know that you weren't feeling well. But it's great. Flu season now underway. Won't go away anytime soon. Read Leslie's article on page 8 in the October issue of Boomer Times. And we certainly appreciate, that you have that lovely community there. I don't like to call it a facility, even though I know that's what people say, but it's really a beautiful community. People are friendly. They even have dog visits. They just do all sorts of things. So I want to give everyone the phone number. It's 561-483-9282, 561-483-9282. It's over there on Verde Trail in Boca Raton. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye, Leslie.
Bye, Leslie.